So growing up, similar to probably a lot of you guys, my family didn't have a whole lot of money. Nobody around me wore suits, and the idea of paying hundreds of dollars for a suit was completely foreign. Fast forward to today. I'm fortunate enough to have over 20 suits in my collection that are worth over $1,000. Now, part of the reason I've got so many suits is I was in the industry. I own and ran a custom clothing, and me personally, I've designed over 1,000 suits. But still, it's always bothered me that people think you need to be rich to be able to look good in a suit. Gents, I'm here to tell you that is complete. In fact, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to take a cheap suit, one well under $100, and look amazing. Guys, let's do this. So before we get started, the key concept you have to understand here is that an outfit is like a chain. It's only as strong as its weakest link. When a man suits up, the look, the outfit, it's a lot more than just the suit. There's the shoes, the shirt, the accessories, the grooming. If any one of those are incredibly weak, the chain is going to break. So as I'm going through this checklist of ways to make a cheap suit look expensive, don't get fixated, don't spend your entire budget on a singular item. No, instead you want to look at the areas in the equation in which you're weakest. So with that being said, let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about the type of cheap suits to avoid. Now, unless you're going for a costumed look, go for a classic color, charcoal gray or navy blue. Now notice I didn't say black. You see, black fabric in suiting should be reserved for black tie, tuxedos. That's nightwear. And another reason to avoid them is it's harder to match shirts and ties with them. Charcoal gray, navy, medium gray like this, these colors are much easier to be able to mix and match with other pieces of clothing, and they also work with a wider variety of complexions. Now gents, the suit I'm wearing today is brought to you by today's sponsor, Yafushi. So about 4 years ago, I bought a couple of their brighter suits over on Amazon, and I reviewed them expecting to pan this company. Well, guess what? I wasn't able to pan them because when it came down to the fit, when it came down to the overall style of the garments, they did really good. And yes, I will admit they're not using high-end luxury wool in these suits, but for well under $100, gents, I know so many of you guys out there are strapped for cash, but you gotta look good, you gotta wear a suit for some occasion. So they do run small, you gotta size up, because I'm 5'9", 175 pounds, but they're on Amazon, they got a great return policy, and one thing I do love is their trousers. They've got this hidden elastic expandable waistband, which makes them incredibly comfortable. But straight up, gents, for the price, 1/10 of what you'll pay for a suit, at one of those higher end companies, this is a steal. And if you just want to pick up a blazer, they've got you covered with a selection of those as well. And again, for a guy on a really tight budget, check out their footwear. Now, they don't have a huge selection, but they do have some nice looking shoes for the price. Right here, as you can see, I got a pair of black wingtips with the nice broguing on the toe. Or maybe you want something a bit more casual. Check out these leather boots. They've got a rougher pebbled leather right there on the upper and a solid sole that's going to give you good traction. And again, if you're looking for an inexpensive suit, you're looking for a blazer you can dress up, make it look more expensive, guys, this is a great company to go with. Gents, if you're on a tight budget, you want to step up your style, check out Yafushi. Down in the description of today's video, I'm linking over to them on Amazon. Go check them out. Now, what about those brighter colors? Maybe in blue, maybe in green, purple, yellow, red. Now, I'm not going to say you can't pull them off, but if the goal here is to make you look sophisticated, to make the outfit look expensive, you want to avoid these suits because in general, they scream costume suit. Now again, certain complexions can pull them off, but in general, to look expensive, you want to stick with the classics. Another thing to look for is sheen. Now, typically, we will see sheen on fabrics that have a lot of polyester or use an inexpensive polyester. The good news is in the last few decades, I have seen a lot of synthetic materials do a much better job of simulating good-looking fabrics. This fabric right here is synthetic material, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, what you want to avoid is the shiny suit. That right there screams that it was either cheaply made or somebody mistakenly went over it with an iron, which, by the way, never iron your suit. You can steam them, but never put a hot iron directly against the material. The next tip to making your inexpensive suit look amazing is to make sure whenever you grab the suit, it doesn't have any extreme style tendencies. You want to look for classic notch lapels that aren't too wide, aren't too thin, or just right. On the back of the suit, look for one vent or look for two vents. In general, avoid the flashy patterns, avoid the flashy contrast stitching. You just want a simple classic design that you can build off of. And next up, of course, you knew I was going to say it, you've got to nail the fit. Now here at Real Men Real Style, I always tell you know the name of your tailor, and your suit is important, especially if you're getting an inexpensive suit. You want to make sure you take this to your tailor to get adjusted. Now this suit right here, as you can see, fits me really well right out the packaging. I definitely could shorten those sleeves about 1/2 inch, and the hem on the trousers, yeah, I definitely could go up 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch there. Oh, and there's a tad bit of bunching behind the neck. I'd probably bring that in as well. But overall, gents, this is a really good look for a suit that is well under $100 new. Yeah, gents, you heard me right. This is probably the cheapest suit I've ever had on my channel when it comes to money, for a fraction of the cost that you're going to spend at some of those higher end retailers. So you've got your suit. Let's talk about the next most expensive piece. Actually, it could easily be the most expensive piece, and that is your footwear. Now I've got shoes right over here in my closet that cost over $1,000. These are well under $100. Gents, there's a huge difference between inexpensive footwear and expensive footwear. If you're ever spending more than a couple $100s for a good pair of dress shoes, you want to make sure you're getting something that's Goodyear welted or a pair of shoes that is Blake stitched. When a shoe is under $100, you're pretty much guaranteed to get something that is going to be glued. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is being held together with cement. And it is a good thing sometimes. It's also a good thing in manufacturing because it is less expensive, but it's a bad thing long term because the shoe really can't be rebuilt. But when you're buying shoes at this price point, I get it. You're trying to solve a problem right now. What you want to make sure is that you get a pair of shoes like this that have a classic, timeless design. Now, I said no to black suits, but you can go with black shoes. In fact, I encourage for most men, that's going to be their go-to dress shoe. It's one of the easiest ones to match. You can wear it with a blue suit. You can wear it with a gray suit. And heck, if you didn't listen to me, you got a black suit, you want to wear black shoes with it. Now, dark brown is another good option. It's going to require a little bit more maintenance. It's usually easier to scuff those, but they do grab the eye a bit more. And I know me personally, I really like the dark browns, but I will say for black, when it comes to maintenance, when it comes to actually being able to spend less and get something that actually looks more expensive, punches above its weight, I think black classic footwear is where it's at. Now let's talk about the shirt. So one of the most important things for the shirt, because it fits closer to the body, is to go with a natural material. I like 100% cotton. Occasionally you'll find blends out there, and they do this oftentimes to save price, but sometimes to give it more of a performance aspect. In any case, look around. Of all the items we're going to talk about, shirts perhaps have the most price elasticity. What I mean by that is if you look hard enough, you look for sales, you look for deals, you can find a great shirt that will fit you for less than $20, or you could spend upwards of $200. Now, the difference between those shirts may actually be incredibly small, but one of them you're able to get immediately. Maybe you're getting it custom built for you, so it's going to be fitted. That's what you're paying the $200 for, or it's a name brand. However, a lot of big box stores, they've got their own brands, and if you find something that actually fits you, made from 100% cotton, or you can get it adjusted to fit you a little bit better. And if you catch that shirt on sale, like a buy one, get one free deal, all of a sudden you're getting that shirt for $20. Again, you got to give yourself some time here, but what's great about a classic white dress shirt or even light blue, they're not going out of style. They've been around for decades. And understand, similar to the jacket, you've got to make sure you get the fit right. It's not just the sleeve length, but it's also going to be the collar, because if the collar is way too big or if it's too tight, you're not going to be able to wear the suit, especially if you want to wear it with a necktie. So let's talk neckties. For over 30 years, sales of neckties have declined. Now, some guys think that's bad. Other guys think that's a great thing. I just simply look at it as a fashion trend, because the reality is that men have been adorning their necks for thousands of years. Over the years, we've changed how we do it. Sometimes trends come, sometimes they go. But the reality is when it comes to wrapping up a suit, the cherry on top of the sundae is still the necktie. And interestingly, because men are wearing them less, they have a bigger impact, and it's important on the few occasions you do wear a necktie to wear it correctly and to wear the right one. So if you want your inexpensive suit to look sophisticated, do not go with a novelty necktie. In general, avoid neckties maybe that are too casual, like knitted neckties or wool neckties, and avoid overly flashy colors, especially neon. Now, the default tie for a lot of guys is the red necktie. Studies have been very clear. Wearing this color signals power, can signal dominance, and people are more likely to listen to a man who's wearing a little bit of the color red. However, red is not really a specific color. There are all types of hues, tints, and variations of it. Now, the simple rule I follow here when it comes to colors is the outfit and are you warm or cool toned? So if you're wearing gray or you like cooler tones like silver jewelry, then in general, the tie colors should lean towards richer, deeper, more shades of the color. And that's when you've added a little bit of a darker aspect to them. So as you can see, this color of red would work really well with the gray suit that I'm wearing. This gold tie with the blue diamonds right here with the stripes going across, this would look great with my gray suit. On the other hand, if I was wearing a navy suit, I'd probably want to go with a tie that has a little bit more pop in the color. This purple right here with small repeating patterns, we've got these light blues with these white dots, this could work. Or again, if I wanted to send the signal of power, I could go with a red tie, but in a hue like this. And if I wanted to go for a more muted look, I could actually go with a solid blue tie, which, believe it or not, with a light blue shirt and the shade is going to be slightly different than the suit. This is a really good monochromatic, good looking combination that for a man that doesn't want to draw too much attention to himself is a great overall look. And really quick on tie patterns, let's look at this green tie here. Notice that we've got two repeating patterns. This one is a little bit busy, but still would be fine to wear, especially with that gray suit. And this pattern right here, if you don't recognize it, is paisley. It actually comes out of India and is a classic pattern in men's ties that you can wear in even a formal situation. However, I think most of you guys are going to be served best by going with a solid tie or a semi-solid tie. That's going to have a subtle pattern in it, or a small repeating pattern like the dots we've got here. Now let's talk accessories. In general, you want to keep jewelry to a minimum. 1, maybe up to 2 rings on each hand. Tie accessories like a tie clip are nice but not required. Necklaces should be discreet, worn under the shirt. Bracelets, keep them simple, maybe a precious metal, and probably wear it on the dominant hand, because on your non-dominant hand, you're probably going to be wearing a watch, and having a classic dress watch is going to be perfect for the look that we're going for. Now, gents, there are all different types of watches out there. You got racing watches, you got dive watches, but a classic dress watch is going to be simple. It's going to usually be made either from a precious metal. The dial isn't going to be overly complicated. Now, this watch right here is a fine watch, but this is a field style watch. And notice the canvas strap. This right here would bring down the entire outfit, and it's a casual watch, not a dress watch. Now, gents, as you can see right here, I've got a simple, clean, fashion watch on that checks all the boxes I just said. It's a good looking watch and it works with the outfit. And yeah, I really like this color here. And of course, don't forget about your grooming. You want to shower, you want to be clean shaven, and you want to make sure you've got a hairstyle that is actually in style. What's in style right now? Gents, I got you covered with this video right here. I'm talking about the hairstyles that are in right now. So go check it out. Boom, right here. The next video to watch. Oh yeah, I know you're going to love it. Come on, go check out the hairstyles. The hairstyles you want to avoid too. I cover it all right here. Boom, go check it out.